the meaning of suicide, which we decoded on our journey, is essentially the not letting go. It's a spiritual death, not a physical death. And if you are getting really strong suicidal thoughts, that means you're on the precipice of change. When we purified ourselves by removing the distortions of abuse and also acknowledging them, good or bad, we began to attain a higher understanding and knowing through the soul. And when this happened, everything we ever knew showed itself to be a lie, and the truth was revealed. The veil was lifted. And it's important to understand what this means, because it's used quite a lot, the lifting of the veil. And in Latin, the word apocalypse means the unveiling, the lifting of the veil. And it's the exposure of truth and beauty and the destruction of the old lie. So when we embodied this, it was the apocalypse within each of us. So the death of the old Alistair and the death of the old Hazel. So those parts of us that were living a lie, living an unhappy life, essentially. And this allowed us to fulfill the cycle, that death allowed us to fulfill the cycle of rebirth. You know, like the seasons, when you go into autumn and winter, they die, and then you go through spring and you're reborn. And this is what known as a spiritual rebirth. And if you know, some of the integration we did was really rough. And if you try and stop that energy of rebirth, if you don't let go of that, that's when you get stuck, and that's when suicidal thoughts come in. And the meaning of suicide, which we decoded on our journey, is essentially the not letting go. It's a spiritual death, not a physical death. And if you are getting really strong suicidal thoughts, that means you're on the precipice of change. And we will go through in other videos how to let go of that which wants to die, because that for me has been one of my challenges.
Without letting go of your body.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the really important thing to say.
Yes.
Suicidal thoughts come up so much because we're not able to deal with processing this level of density, which when we start awakening starts cracking open our systems and starts showing us the truth of all of the lies and everything that we bought into, you know, everything that we said yes to formerly in our lives, which actually created suffering for us. When all of that starts getting exposed and you start seeing the truth, it can be really difficult to bear.
Yeah.
And like we see this, and this is one of the reasons why we want to start sharing our journey, is to be like, just by listening hopefully to these videos, is just to, you know, there is hope. And things like suicidal thoughts, when you're supported and you know that other people have gone out there, it's actually like part of your ego that wants to die.
Yeah.
And how do you get to that point where you're able to decipher your egoic death and to start taking responsibility for, and this is why, like, owning up to your shame and starting that process of deep diving within yourself really supports you.
Yeah.
So when there's big changes and like collective changes or lifestyle changes, and you start thinking, I can't handle this anymore, that's because you are exposing your ego, and it's your ego that can't handle it anymore. When you start going into that, you realize, okay, there's hope for my life. I'm going to save my life by changing my life, by allowing those ego deaths. And that's part of like the shamanic path, isn't it? You know, we learn how to like die and rebirth over and over and over again. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you. And what's the word where you chant something over and over? Mantra. My mantra was never give up. And that's got me where I am today. I'm still alive. So I encourage you to never give up. It is really tough. But you're probably wondering why we're talking about suicide, right? And why we're talking about how we purified ourselves. This is all related. So please trust in the process.